Hello, today I want to give you an update on the status of my channel, a sort of briefing of sorts, a state of the union, if you will, a state of the YouTubian. No. I know it's becoming like a rite of passage. Somehow you can't be a YouTuber without doing a video about having a crisis of confidence on a semi-regular basis, but hey ho, that's what's happening. We'll call it a tag. Alright, let's call it a tag. I'm doing the I'm questioning my content tag. How's that? My sort of motto, my mantra for YouTube and giving advice to people who want to do YouTube is that you shouldn't start a channel just for the sake of it or make a video just kind of cause. You should make a video because you feel like you have something to say. And really, since the start of this year, I felt like I haven't had anything to say. I think being a YouTuber inherently requires a certain level of narcissism, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Setting up a camera and talking to it and expecting other people to care about what you've got to say, that takes a certain amount of ego. And yet the types of people drawn to YouTube, at least the ones I've met, are also the ones most susceptible to crippling self-doubt. It's an odd dichotomy. Last year I had a really good run. I was making stuff I was consistently proud of, other people seemed to be enjoying it, I was enjoying doing it, and then suddenly in the new year I stopped enjoying it and I started questioning it. I didn't feel like I was saying anything new and that the sit-down vlogs felt forced and stale and so many other people were doing it, so what made me different, and I needed to change things up before you guys noticed and started getting bored and forgetting me. Stop it. It was a new year and I wanted to freshen things up, change things up, make a fresh start, and somehow that turned into not making anything. Wise. Here's my problem. Here's the ballad of Daniel J. I have a lot of ideas. I'm always coming up with ideas and I fall in love with them for about a second, and then that second passes and suddenly the idea has run away with itself and become something so much bigger than I could ever conceive, let alone create in the position I am right now, and so I kind of throw that idea away and then I go back to the drawing board wherein the cycle starts all over again. PMS is great. I find it exciting and creative, and it was a fun way to mix things up on my channel a little bit, but it's a tricksy little devil because I'm always vlogging, or if not vlogging, I'm thinking about how I'm going to edit something, I'm thinking about how I'll link everything together, coming up with some jokes, and it tricks me into thinking that I'm constantly creating, which I kind of am, but also I'm not, because before you know it, there's been 3 weeks of radio silence on my channel. There's a channel that I absolutely adore, it's called The Nerd Writer, I'm sure many of you know it, and he recently made a video about Casey Neistat, and in that video, he pointed out that the great conceit of Casey's channel is that he's taken the humble vlog, this kind of genre born out of the 21st century ideal that anyone can do anything, anytime, anyhow, this bastion of amateur hour ground-up growth, and he's professionalised it. I'm not criticising, I love Casey's work, I wish I could make stuff half as good, but therein lies the problem, because Casey is not just an amateur who's kind of figuring out as he goes, he's a professional filmmaker who's plied his trade for years and become a highly skilled craftsman. And I'm just a guy with a camera. When I think about, I want to make this series or I want to do that album, my imagination always jumps to the end product. When I think of myself as a singer, I think of the first night of my tour, with the dancers and the pyro and the lighting and how I want to make the audience feel. And actually I forget that there's a whole lot of work that goes into that. A lack of intent or imagination isn't the problem, it's the fact that I forget the process behind it and I can't even conceive the fact that I'm going to fail 10 dozen times before I inevitably nail it. Basically, I just need to slow the hell down and remember that these things take time and that art is a gradual process, and that I'm not gonna write the next #1 hit tomorrow, I'm not gonna write a new Nora Ephron-esque rom-com classic in one sitting. I honestly believe I have the talent to do those things. It's buried somewhere under this layer of extraneous doubt, but I have to work for it, I have to mine for it. I'm not going to try and stifle my imagination or stop coming up with grand ideas. I just need to remember to try and not run before I can walk, and also to remember that it shouldn't really be about what I could do, if only, but rather what I can do to make myself get there. And what I can do is remember the simple pleasure of sitting and talking to a camera. So I will see you next week. I've said it now. There's a lemon tree.
Lemon tree. Pick some fresh lemons.
The lemon tree is my favourite part of it because it's a lemon tree.
I was trying to think of a Beyonce joke and I just couldn't get there.